Welcome back in. We are on to week 5, which means we are on to, yes, the DST and kicker streaming options for this week. Now, we do have bye weeks starting this week, and they are as follows: the Lions, Chargers, Eagles, and Titans. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to start with the defenses. We're going to start with the Denver Broncos, who are rostered in 5% of leagues, but right now they're quietly the number 2 scoring fantasy defense through 4 weeks. They have done a good job getting pressure on the quarterback. They are ranked 9th in pressure rate and top 3 in blitz rate so far this year. This has resulted in 16 sacks, second only to Minnesota. This week, the Broncos head home to face a Raiders offense that has really struggled at times. The Broncos are easily one of my favorite streaming options this week and are widely available in all formats. Let's keep it moving here. Let's move on to the Seattle Seahawks, who are rostered in 26% of leagues. Seattle's been one of my favorite streaming options so far this year. They have registered 14 sacks, which ranks top 10 in the league. And now they can take on a Giants offense that may be without Malik Neighbors due to a concussion. Seattle, once again, makes for a really strong streaming option at home against the Giants this week. So Seattle is definitely somebody you should be taking a look at. Next up, you have the Green Bay Packers, who are rostered in 30% of leagues. The Packers DST is actually the number 3 overall scoring defense through 4 weeks. They rank 7th in sacks and 1st in turnovers. This week, the Packers head to LA to take on a Rams offense that has allowed 3.5 sacks per game this year. So I do think the Packers are another really strong streaming option this week. And then lastly, we have the New England Patriots, who are rostered in less than 5% of leagues. The Patriots' first 4 games have been less than ideal as they face teams like the Bengals, Seahawks, Jets, and the 49ers. But this week, however, the Patriots will take on a Dolphins offense that has been dreadful since losing to a couple of weeks ago. Whether it's Skylar Thompson or Tyler Huntley this past week, this explosive offense has been a shell of itself with horrible quarterback play and really bad offensive line play as well. This sets up as a good spot for the Patriots defense to turn things around. So New England defense is another option you can take a look at. So let's go ahead and move on over to the kickers. And we're going to start with a player who I talked about last week, and that is Chris Boswell, rostered in 34% of leagues. Boswell turned in another decent performance on Sunday with 8 fantasy points against the Colts. He connected on a 50-yard field goal and made all 3 of his PATs. While it was nothing special, Boz continues to be one of the more reliable fantasy kickers this season. This week, the Steelers will head to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. This game sets up as a good kicking environment inside the dome. The Steelers' offense checks a lot of the boxes we are looking for, especially the third down conversion rate, as they rank top in that category. Overall, Boswell is top 3 in fantasy points per game and has made a league-leading 6 field goals from 50-plus yards. So I do like Chris Boswell this week against the Cowboys. Let's keep it moving. We're going to hit on Chase McLaughlin for the Buccaneers, 5% rostered. McLaughlin has now scored double-digit fantasy points in 3 of the 4 games he's played this season. And now the Bucks will travel to Atlanta to take on the Falcons on the season. McLaughlin has made 7 of 7 field goals, 3 of those from being 50-plus yards. He also has converted 10 of 11 on PATs, which is the 6th highest in the league, making him the kicker 12 so far on the season. This week, the Bucks have the 12th highest implied team total and gets that little dome bump as well. So Chase McLaughlin is definitely something you can look at. Talked about him last week. We're going to talk about him again this week, and that's Austin Seibert. 2% roster. I guess nobody wanted to jump on that bandwagon, and maybe you should, because Seibert continues to be one of the best values kicker position as he finishes a top 10 kicker for his 3rd straight week. Last week against the Cardinals, where he converted on both of his field goals and 4 PATs for 11 fantasy points, making him the kicker 7 overall last week. Now, this week, the Commanders' hot off has one of the highest implied team totals on the slate, making Seibert another strong option again this week. Lastly, we're going to talk about Cam Little. One of my favorite preseason guys, a rookie kicker from Arkansas, but 3% roster for the Jaguars. Little's coming off his best game as a pro, scoring 11 fantasy points last week and was the kicker 7 on the week. He made 2 field goals, including a 52-yarder, and also converted both of his PATs. He's been about as consistent as you can ask for a rookie kicker, as he's only missed 1 field goal all season. But his biggest issue has been the offense, and the Jaguars haven't had much success. However, that could change this week with a game at home against the Colts. The Jags offense currently have the 4th highest applied team total this week. So I do think Cam Little is another option to take a look at. And then lastly, just a couple honorable mentions. Blake Grupe gets a Monday night matchup on the road against the Chiefs. Grupe continues to be just more and more very reliable kicker. He doesn't have many huge outings, but he is somebody that's going to give you probably anywhere from 8 to 10 fantasy points. And this game sets up, against the Chiefs. We'll see how this turns out between these 2 teams. The Chiefs do have a really good defense, but Blake Grupe could be another option for you this week. Will Lutz versus the Raiders. Lutz is always going to be an option, especially for the Denver Broncos whenever they're at home. In that beautiful mile-high air. And so, obviously, Will Lutz is an option. And lastly, Cairo Santos is just another player they get a good matchup against a really, really, really bad Panthers defense. So Cairo Santos, again, another one of those reliable kickers, top 12 option for the most part this season, is another option you can take a look at as well. So that being said, let us know in the comment section below if you have any questions. We'll be sure to get back to you so you can help set your lineup for week 5. Hope everybody's a good rest of the week. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.